Chronicles of the Grim Reaper. The Last Letter by Griz Calderon. He had grown up in a small Bavarian town where the streets were cobbled and the rooftops seemed to huddle together against the winter wind. His family owned a modest bakery, and every morning of his childhood began with the warm scent of fresh bread drifting from the ovens into the cool dawn air. He loved the rhythm of that life, the mixing, the kneading, the waiting, as dough slowly rose under cloth. It was a world measured in loaves and hours, not in orders and marching steps. When the war spread across Europe, he was only 19. There was no question of whether he would serve. The order came, and with it, the uniform, heavy gray-green wool that never quite fit right. He traded the softness of flour for the weight of a rifle, the sound of the shop's wooden door for the metallic snap of a magazine locking into place. Months of training and relocation brought him to the coast of France, to a concrete bunker that overlooked the wide sweep of sand and sea. He learned the tides, the distances, the lines of fire. Days blurred together, endless repairs on the Atlantic wall, long hours staring out over water that never stopped moving. In the quiet moments before dawn on June 6th, he sat at a narrow desk inside the bunker, scratching out a letter on worn paper. His handwriting was neat, though the words were spare, small updates about the weather, a promise that he would come home when he could. He folded the letter carefully and slipped it into the breast pocket of his tunic. The sky outside was pale when shapes began to form on the horizon. First, just specks, then whole fleets of ships. The sea churned under their weight. Orders were barked, weapons manned. The air filled with the heavy thud of distant artillery, the shouts of men trying to be heard over it all. The Reaper had been there since before the first glint of metal touched the horizon. He walked the ridgeline, stepped into the roar of the surf, and moved through the smoke as it rose from the sand. Time bent for him, allowing his presence to linger with each man who fell, no matter which side they fought for. He did not mark uniforms. He did not care for causes. Friedrich gripped the handles of the machine gun, the sea wind cutting cold against his face. He was not fearless. He was simply focused, doing what was expected of him. When the first wave of landing craft struck the shore, the sound was unlike anything he had heard before. The blast came without warning. A shell slammed into the bunker, heat and light tearing through the walls. The world became dust, stone, and ringing silence. When Friedrich opened his eyes, the Reaper was standing just beyond the haze. Tall, unmoving, he seemed untouched by the ruin around them. The battle's noise had faded to nothing. Only the steady pull of the Reaper's presence remained. Friedrich's hand moved instinctively to his breast pocket, feeling the folded paper inside. The Reaper's gaze shifted there, but he did not take it. He left the letter where it was, to be found by hands that still lived. The smell of the bakery filled Friedrich's senses again. Warm bread breaking under a knife, the crackle of a crust, the faint sound of a door opening to let in the morning. The cold, the dust, and the weight of the uniform slipped away. When the Reaper extended his hand, Friedrich took it. The war was gone. The sea was calm. And as he stepped forward, all that remained was peace. The end.